Fala pessoal, de boa, continuando a nossa gameplay do Starfield de onde paramos e vamos para a próxima missão.
What an honor it was to aid you on your path to become one of the promised. I have seen visions of Anasco searching for one bold enough to enter the heart of the vortex. And now that you are here, I know your arrival was no accident, but rather providence. The Great Serpent has guided you here. From the moment you found the Oracle to the words I speak to you now. Well put. The Great Serpent's works are imperceptible, even to heralds like myself. But rest assured, all will be revealed when you journey north. At the edge of the crater, you will find a cave carved by the anomaly. There, you will make contact with a Nasco Varun.
It would be unwise to ignore the Herald's counsel.
The Great Serpent has blessed me with the sight, and I have seen events there that are only now beginning to take shape. It is as the Great Serpent foretold. In my visions, I witnessed two futures. In the first, you breached the scaled citadel, but found Anasco had sunk too far into the void. And in time, all of Dazra was consumed along with him. The anomaly spread, absorbing all in its path. The crater you see now is nothing compared to the destruction looming ahead. Indeed, but there is another path. In the second future, I saw you make contact with Anasco, entering a cave through a formless wall. At its terminus was a gate, a path into the realm where our speaker resides. You stepped into this void, and in that moment, something changed. The false future rewritten.
Roughly speaking, it could be that entering the vortex directly would allow you to speak with him. And while my readings do not show any anomalous activity, I admit there's a lot of interference. Still, that only emphasizes the potential danger involved here. I cannot approve of such an excursion on the minute chance Anasco is present. Not in the way you and I speak, but in crude terms, yes, provided you manage to maintain your own sanity through the process. But this is all purely theoretical. No one has ever entered the vortex and come back. The closer one ventures to the heart of the anomaly, the closer they are to the phantoms and horrors that lie within. Moreover, if this cave was cut open by the calamity itself, then it is an unnatural formation and highly unstable. I've said this much myself, but my sister persists. It may save us more time to inspect the cave than to continue these arguments.
You may not realize it now, dear brother, but our goals are one and the same. No, it was born from the incident itself, but I believe it is there. And what is faith but to give form to the formless? As a herald, it is my duty to make real what is unseen. It was a winding cave, scattered with walls of dark energy. At the end, a rip in the fabric of reality. In my vision, I saw you step forward, slowly, following the sound of Anasco's voice. I could hear him calling to you in the distance. His words were jumbled, but as you drew closer, they started to assemble. But I was thrust out of the vision before I could see the end. Then you must embark to the northern edge of the crater. You will find an entrance there, one that has no form. Step through it, find Anasco, and complete the vision. Only then will his voice be heard.
Bom, nessa parte da missão a gente vai ter aí que investigar uma caverna, né? Para fazer o caminho para lá, inicialmente partindo da cidade, vocês vão ter alguns pontos aqui próximos do personagem, então dá para você dar uma caminhada bem de leve ali. É o início do caminho, porém, né? Saindo um pouco da cidade ali, aí o ponto já muda lá para a entrada da caverna e já fica bem mais distante, né? Então esse início aqui eu só mostro essa caminhadinha rápida, tá? Ó, que aí praticamente vai ir direcionando a gente por onde andar. E aí chegou aqui, mano, no próximo ponto o bagulho já vai reto pra caverna aí, né? Eu aproveitei e dei uma exploradinha de leve aí no planeta ali, nessa caminhada, né? Até a gente chegar aqui no objetivo da missão. Tinha alguns inimigos ali pra gente enfrentar, então eu fui derrotando eles aí. E agora é só entrar na caverna aqui e começar a fazer a exploração dela também, né? Que já faz parte da história. Beleza, né? Entrando ali na caverna, a gente meio que vai progredir sozinho, tá? Porque o nosso companion ali, ele não consegue seguir a gente. E aí vamos ter aí, ó, meio que uma névoa direcionando o caminho pra gente, tá? E se você reparar ali também, vai ter aí, né, o cara, ele meio que caminhando ali por este caminho, tá? Dá pra escutar os passos dele aí à nossa frente e dá pra ver também, ó, visualmente ali, ó. Então é só você seguir isso daí até o objetivo. Por enquanto, tudo bem tranquilo. Creio eu que a gente chegou na área onde a gente vai encontrar aí esse cara, né? Porque é ele que tá nos guiando ali. Parece que tem uma fenda aqui, mano. Vamos lá, né? Vai ter que pular pra dentro dela? Acho que é o jeito, né?
I speak into this void, and it answers with silence. Have you abandoned me, great serpent? Do you not hear my pleas? You understand me? Hear my voice. But I do not know you. I hesitate to ask, but what manner of being are you? Do you truly serve his will? You can lie to yourself, shield your eyes from the truth, but the fact that you are here shows you are part of his plan. I have reached out so many times to hear nothing but echoes, yet you, an outsider, hear me plain. And for the first time, I hear you. Clearly your arrival here is fated. By stepping into this void, we are now linked. There is still reason to hope. The Great Serpent will see us through. But time is short. The bridge collapses. The gate is still open. The experiment still runs. Find me in the Scaled Citadel. I will wait for you there.
Beleza, né? Então agora deu merda, é o que dá pra dizer. Por quê, né? Vai aparecer aí um monte de inimigo. E a gente vai ter que sair correndo aqui dessa caverna, né, mano? Então bora lá, não vai dar pra usar aquela arma ali não, hein? Arma de físico no Starfield, eu vou te falar, mano. Tá ali só por tá, porque é foda, viu? Tá louco, prefiro as armas de raio, mano. Você dá uma só, já resolve o problema. Ah, bom. Pensei que não ia destruir o bagulho, não. Caralho, os bichos é pequenininho, irmão. Olha, caraca, eu tô atirando entre as pernas do bagulho. Agora deu bosta. Pelo menos eu tiro o chapéu aí pros caras, né? Fez algo no tiro ali meio realista. Vamos embora aqui, né? Apareceu uma pá de cara. Isso, filha da mãe, vem aqui desse jeito mesmo. Caraca, o bagulho caiu e... Nossa, o bagulho... Pera aí, o que aconteceu aqui? Calma aí. Ô bosta, apertei até o botão errado, pera. Deixa eu só olhar aqui, tá? É pra seguir em frente, mas... Eu destruí o bagulho, aí as pedras caiu e não lacrou. Tipo... A caverna ali. E aí ficou marcado... Nossa senhora parecida. Mas é uma lambança atrás da outra no Starfield, viu, filho? Os caras, mano, não conseguem fazer o jogo rodar... Mano, direito, velho. É bizarro. Tá osso, hein? Bom, a gente já tá fugindo da caverna, só sair dela. Beleza, né? Então, a gente acabou saindo ali da caverna. O nosso objetivo é voltar lá da mulher. Apareceu um inimigo aqui. Só eliminar ele aqui tranquilo. Tem um marcado no mapa ali, mas eu não sei aonde tá. Vamos deixar ele aí mesmo. E bora voltar lá pra cidade, conversar com ela pra seguir em frente ali com a missão, né? Vamos ver no que vai dar.
The Great Serpent has filled you with purpose. Is that not beautiful? You return. What news do you have of Anasco? Then my vision did not betray me.
Well, it would seem I owe you an apology, sister.
There is no need, brother. Your skepticism only strengthens us.
As you say. But, to the matter at hand, did Anasco mention anything that could aid us in his extraction? Yes, the pinnacle of the Citadel was modified to house the equipment to create a gate to the vortex. If it still runs, that would explain everything we have experienced since the initial incident.
It is much more than that. Normally when I pray for Anasco's return, I sense he is lost, fading. But when I last prayed to the Great Serpent, I felt Anasco's presence clear and distinct. Even as it receded, I felt him anchored to this world. Yes, there are some who suggest that when Jinan communed with the Great Serpent, a similar bond had been established. I believe the same is true for you and Anasco.
I would need time to attempt a scientific explanation for why or how this happened, but for now, let us assume my sister is correct.
And that is the essence of faith. I do not know what lies ahead. My visions do not go beyond this point. But I do know this link will play a role. In fact, I am certain of it.
Agreed. And with this settled, we can now continue the work of aligning the noble houses. Together, we will find a way to complete the mourning device.
Beleza, né? Com isso, então, a gente acaba ali, ó, recebendo uma conquista, mais uma missãozinha aí completada também, relacionada aqui à história da DLC. E a gente volta ali pro alinhamento das casas, né? Onde estava faltando pra gente ajudar duas. E agora já iremos aqui para a próxima, que, né, é mais voltada ali para a área de armas. Eita, fui pro lado errado, beleza. Vamos subir as escadas, porque o objetivo tá na parte de cima ali. E aí a gente vai ter, né, mais interações aí. E vamos ver os próximos diálogos aqui, né. Tudo certo até o momento.
This is foolish, Victor. The High Council needs access to the power grid if we hope to restore the city. Your inability to provide a legitimate excuse for denying them will only last so long.
Victoria is right. I know you're angry, but you can't let personal matters interfere with what may be best for everyone.
Personal matters? This is a Ministry of State matter, and I will handle it as I see fit. He is a traitor. He turned his back not only on his family, but on our people's entire belief system. The fact that he still breathes is a stain upon the House Vethal name.
You would doom us all with your pride.
I will do as I please as head of this house. If you are not a member of House Vethal, you do not belong here. Another High Council lackey come begging? I told Lovic no more!
Forgive my brother. He has been forgetting his manners of late. Victor, this is Anasco's chosen. You recall Lovic sent word.
I recall he spoke of a newly anointed promised. And we do not need help, especially from an outsider.
You can't continue to refuse the council. You must act. Your inaction is killing you.
Precisely, which is why he leaves me no choice but to say this. My nephew Vaeric has left, and until he returns, Victor refuses to assist the council.
These are hardly matters for the ears of an outsider. Of course not. You are an outsider. You have no understanding of our house. What would my son, my successor, the heir to House Vethal have to do with house politics? Even someone with basic political knowledge should realize his importance. Worse, have you seen Dazra? How can things get any worse?
Is this not the opportunity you've been looking for, brother? A third party capable of finding Vaeric?
Yes, you said so yourself. Someone with no loyalties to speak of. And if she's become promised, truly her arrival is more than coincidence.
Serpent, give me strength. You both speak true. Perhaps I have reacted in haste. Tell me, Vindicator, are you well practiced in discretion? I have heard reports on Ryujin from the Ministry of Conjunction. This news gives me hope. As Vittoria mentioned, my son, Vaeric, has left. Essentially, he has abandoned his post. And not only did he turn his back on his house, but the great serpent as well. He is a traitor and must be dealt with as such.
Victor, surely you don't mean it.
He does, Luther. He is allowing his fervent pride and anger to cloud his judgment. What my brother is trying to say is that he wishes his own son dead. First, We lose Vashti to that malignance tearing through Dazra. And now you so willingly offer up Vaeric. As if our house has not suffered enough loss already.
My son denounced the very faith that defines Va'ruun's society. He dared to blame Anasco for the state of Dazra. Dared to call our faith in the Great Serpent blind. It is heresy and punishable by death. Because he let his weakness get the better of him. He sees himself as a prisoner in this life. He runs from a duty that others would spend their lives coveting. He is my son. He does not get to choose. He was born to inherit my title, and he knows the punishment for refusing to honor it. This is not grief. This is betrayal. Not only to me, but to our society and the Great Serpent himself. I do not wish Vaeric dead, but as head of the Ministry of State, he left me no choice. All must serve. Those who refuse will be met with death. Our duty as wardens is to keep the populace tasked and loyal. All must serve both the Great Serpent and House Va'ruun. No exceptions. Those who refuse must be cleansed to stop the spread of corruption. I will not have it known that I declared my own son a heretic and allowed him to escape our grasp. This knowledge weakens the Ministry of State's authority, something we cannot risk at this time. This is why my interest turned to a third party, someone outside of the noble houses, but we have yet to determine someone trustworthy enough. Until now. The shame Vaeric brought upon this house is immeasurable. It stains the very foundation. I will not act until this house is in order and its members are properly aligned with the Great Serpent. And showing leniency for a house member at a time like this when order is needed most would be unwise.
The law. Our work is not so simple, and you know it. You act as if death is the only answer. What about forgiveness?
I will not risk the ministry's authority on the actions of my own son, even if he is my chosen heir. If the High Council wants my cooperation, I need you to find Vaeric and carry out his sentence.
And I would ask you to spare him. My brother is acting under impulse, not reason.
I have never been more clear. Speak against me one more time, and you will regret it. Vaeric has a signet ring with House Vithal's family crest. Bring it to me as proof of death. Only then will I grant you access to the power grid. See that you get it done. I recommend you start by speaking to patrons of the Herald's Rest. Some of Vaeric's associates there may know where he went, but keep in mind, anyone who has directly aided him in hiding is an accomplice and shares his fate. The Herald's Rest is our local bar, and unfortunately, my son's favorite establishment to frequent. And while I know a bar isn't the ideal place for discretion, I still expect you to keep these matters private. All anyone needs to know is that you are looking for Vaeric. If they were, they will pay the price. And remember, absolute discretion. All anyone needs to know is that you are looking for Vaeric for personal reasons. I will not risk word of his disappearance getting out before I can say the situation has been handled.
Remember, Vindicator, that I would ask you to spare my nephew.
Beleza, né? Então a gente acabou iniciando a missão. Aí tem um dilema ali na casa ali, né? Um quer matar o cara, os outros não ali, mas de boa, vamos lá. A gente precisa ir num bar ali, certo? Vamos ter 3 opções na hora que a gente chega nele aqui, ó, pra interagir. Primeiro vamos dar uma olhadinha ao redor aqui pra ver se eu encontro alguma coisa. Opa, temos ali já um códice aqui, interessante. Deixando um pouquinho na tela pra vocês, quem quiser dar uma lida com calma aí, bom proveito.
There was never a time when I was old enough to be allowed to drink alcohol here.
Certo. Bom, vamos conversar com essa mina aqui no canto.
What am I to
Ixi,
do
essa daqui
now?
já tem nome específico, hein? Deve estar envolvida em alguma coisa.
I don't need any free drinks from you. This railing is taken. And no, I'm not looking for company. I'm not in the mood. Find someone else to question. Vaeric Vethal. And why should I know anything about the heir apparent? I'm nobody. Ask him yourself, if you find him. Oh, sure. I'm just fine. Hundreds of people are presumed dead. One best friend ran out on me. The other's just drinking himself to death. So yeah, couldn't be better. He does indeed. Well, he used to. Vaeric. One day we're inseparable. And the next, I've searched all of Dazra for him. But he's gone. Couldn't even leave a note. That means he either doesn't want to be found or... well, I prefer not to think about it. Of course I asked around. I even asked people I didn't know. Perhaps the Great Serpent really does hear prayers. All right. But only because I want to know he's okay. I never found out where he is. But I know someone who might. His name is Tain Salavea. Hard to say right now, but Tain's a regular. If you stay a bit, you can't miss him. Just promise me you'll let me know if you find Vaeric. Yes. I need the closure. Whatever it may be. Thank you.
Beleza, né? Então a mina já deu uma dica pra gente aí, né? Que vamos ter que esperar um pouquinho o cara aparecer. Eu só não sei se eu preciso sentar na cadeira aqui e passar um tempo também, né? Tem esse detalhe. Deixa eu ver, né? Opa! Eu acho que o cara já veio já, porque tem a marcação ali bem próxima, o maluco já chegou já. Não precisei nem acelerar o tempo ali. De boa, vamos conversar com ele.
Another day in Dazra. Hey, aren't you that outsider made promise that showed up here recently? Oh, wow. You really bought in, huh? I'm an outsider myself. It's hard to get into the whole giant snake thing. I guess when you're part of the supply chain, they make a few exceptions. There's not a lot of people in the import-export business when it comes to Dazra, and they aim to keep it that way. But believe me, it wasn't any short amount of time before they let me roam these streets. You could say I'm like a specialized delivery service, moving stuff back and forth between Dazra and the settled systems. Just so happens I got a lot of time on my hands since Dazra went to hell and I lost my ship. And let me tell you, I thought things were grim before. Whatever that incident was, this whole planet's gonna need therapy. Yeah, it's something, isn't it? I've been toting stuff back and forth for these people for years and still get the cold shoulder most places I go. But then these people lose half their city and you show up, and suddenly it's divine intervention. Yep, that's how I feel most days since I got stuck here. Anyway, enough about that. What can I do you for? I know the name, sure, everybody here does. But the man? Not much. Someone like me doesn't exactly hang out with house bigwigs. That's so. Well, I guess that depends, Vindicator. Who wants to know? I consider Vaeric a bit of a friendly acquaintance. I know enough about the guy to care about his physical well-being, if you know what I mean. Oh, sure. You just show up out of the blue and suddenly want to know where to find House Vathal's #1 son? And I know he wasn't lost to whatever ate up half of Dazra. Plenty of people have seen him since. Although, let's just say after what went down here, my retirement's looking imminent. And I haven't exactly been saving up for a rainy day. So if you're feeling generous, maybe we can help each other out. Nice to see we operate on the same wavelength. I'm pretty sure he's heading into the Highlands. Just not sure where. But I do have the means to track him. So you just say the word and we're off to the races. Highlands region is the northwest side of Dazra. Pretty good area if you don't want to be easily found. Yep, when it comes to my stuff, it's like a package deal. I'm not just gonna hand off valuable tech to some stranger. You make it sound creepy. But yeah, for emergencies. After you. Once we're outside of Dazra, I'll fire up my tracker, and fingers crossed, it'll lead us right to him. Just head out the west gate, should be the fastest route.
Beleza, né? Então o cara vai junto com a gente ali procurar pelo outro, né? Ele tem um rastreador. Precisaremos ali sair da cidade para começar essa busca nossa aqui.
She's got a limited range, so just keep heading northwest of Dazra until we pick something up.
E aí praticamente a gente vai ter um ponto marcado, vamos indo em direção a ele ali, até a hora que o rastreador vai começar a funcionar, né? E aí no seu canto superior ali direito vai mostrando a distância que você tá do alvo, tá? Então, mano, é só você ir caminhando até chegar próximo dele ali, não tem segredo não. Se começar a se afastar, é o lado oposto. A gente acaba encontrando esse acampamento abandonado aqui. E agora a gente vai precisar aí dar uma geralzinha nesse acampamento e procurar por pistas ali, né, relacionada ao cara, certo? E aí também eu já posso adiantar que começa a parte cagada da missão, porque, mano, isso aqui tá muito zoado. Mas vamos lá, ó. O primeiro objetivo, né, era esse bicho, então tranquilo, é o alien ali morto. A marcação, ela vai ficar ali no meio do acampamento. E os itens que você precisa realmente investigar só vai aparecer se você chegar, tipo, muito perto. Mas é muito perto mesmo, tá? Então, ó, o outro item. A gente tem aqui, ó, o rastreador que o cara deixou aqui. Já encontramos dois. Temos ali também um códice aí, né, pra dar uma olhadinha. Eu vou deixar um pouquinho na tela aí pra quem quiser dar uma lida com calma. Aproveitei também para dar uma geral aqui no acampamento. Pegando os itens ali, munição e esse tipo de coisa, tá? Tem outro códice aqui também, que eu vou deixar um pouquinho na tela aí. E aí dessa parte em diante já começa o problema, tá? Por quê? Mano, você tem que dar até uma sorte, porque, meu... não é meio que explicado o que você precisa procurar, tá ligado? A área, ela é extremamente escura e esses pontos, eles só aparecem se você passar muito perto dele. Então, tipo assim, é na sorte. Você pode encontrar rápido, como pode ficar rodando 20 minutos aqui e não encontrar nada também. Tem esse detalhe. Aí o outro item ali é uma mancha de sangue, tá? Que tá perto aqui, ó. Olha lá, ó. Você tem que chegar do lado do bagulho pra conseguir ali, pelo menos, aparecer o objetivo, tá? Agora falta apenas um item ali pra gente, né? Eu já demorei um pouco pra encontrar isso daqui, porque o bagulho não aparece. Aí eu conversei um pouco ali com o cara também.
Veric's been busy if he got this much done. Friend's a strong word. More like friendly acquaintances. Guess we both felt the Herald's Rest was one of the few places that made us feel like real people. Couple of drinks and everyone's your friend in that moment. I've only had a few run-ins with Victor for security purposes, and he's all in. The man embodies House Bethal. He could probably recite Janan's teachings word for word, and he runs the Ministry of State without missing a beat. Strict, demanding, and always watching. The guy's good at his job, but when it comes to personality, I couldn't tell you. Whoever he is, he keeps it close to the chest. Not from the man himself. The only time I get glimpses of who Victor might be is through Vaeric. It's clear he cares about his son, putting in all that work to prepare Vaeric for the vultures and wolves when he becomes elder. And get this, he even tells Vaeric he's proud of him. When you're in the kind of position that he is, I think you have to be. You can't be in charge of security and purging heretics and then turn around and cry over spilled milk. This is Dazra, where noble houses like to duke it out for bragging rights. They see weakness, they take advantage. Ugh, the state's my least favorite of the three. Commerce and conjunction keep to themselves, but state reaches everywhere. Their security, but more importantly, their loyalty. So they'll get deep in your business. They want your motives, your next of kin, your firstborn. I joke. But the moment they get a whiff of something anti-snake, that's heresy. And heresy is a one-way ticket to meet the Great Serpent himself. House Bethal? Yeah, when it comes to House Beru and the Great Serpent, you won't find a more dedicated house. Some are borderline fanatics, if you ask me. One step away from zealots. Victor isn't even the worst of them. Sure thing. He's a good enough guy, I suppose. A little self-absorbed, spoiled. Growing up in a noble house probably does that to you. A little naive, too. He's got this friend, Bianca. She's crazy about him. But the guy's oblivious. And his friend Eggy? Guy needs to lay off the Koza. But I heard Vaeric let him in on his tab. That's gonna work out well. Blames his dad for everything, though, and I get it. Victor Bethal is not an easy man. He's just used to getting his way and the world revolving around him. When you're raised to be elder, that's bound to bring you all sorts of extra attention. So sometimes when hanging around with us peons, he forgets we have our own thoughts and opinions. Well, it's Victor we're talking about, so it wouldn't surprise me. But Vaeric can't see how much effort Victor puts into making sure his son has all the tools he needs to take over. He'll go on these rants of Victor drilling him on scenarios. Stuff makes my brain hurt. But Vaeric talks about it like child's play. Hey, whatever you want. Always up for a chat.
Beleza, né? Então, eu continuei procurando um pouco ali, certo? Até a hora que eu voltei aqui perto do Alien e aí apareceu essa porcaria dessa pegada aqui. Mano, o bagulho é muito ruim de você encontrar os itens, tá? Porque não tem nada muito explicado e só aparece muito próximo do personagem. Aí aparecem uns inimigos ali pra gente, né? Eliminar. Vamos. O bagulho grita, o personagem dá uma cambaleada. Agora é conversar com o cara.
Two arms, two legs, still good to go. All my years and all the planets I've been on, never gonna get used to those things. Terror, what? I think I'll pass. At least I don't see a body around here, so I hope that means Vaeric's alive. You find anything? Damn. Hate to think he had to take on those things by himself. Well, what's next? Vaeric must have fled in a hurry since his tracker's still here. So guess the rest is up to us. Sounds like a plan. And hopefully that injury slows him down enough for us to catch up. Let's head back down and see what we can find. And by we, I mean you.
Beleza, né? Então agora o nosso objetivo ali já mudou. A gente precisa ir para uma marcação um pouquinho longe ali do acampamento, tá? Chegando nela, a gente já consegue investigar um ponto ali, ó. Umas pegadas. Beleza. E aí também já aparece um ponto bem mais longe ali no mapa. A gente vai precisar ir nele. Não tem muito o que fazer. Deixa eu só dar uma olhadinha nesse monumento aqui. Opa, tem um código aqui que eu não tinha visto não. Deixar um pouquinho na tela pra vocês. E aí vamos fazer a caminhada lá pra área, tá? Claro que vai ter diversos inimigos no meio do caminho, mas eu vou cortando isso daí pra missão ficar até mais rápido aqui também, né? Beleza, pessoal. Nessa parte aqui, né? A gente foi caminhando ali até chegar numa fazenda, tá? Eu fui tomando cuidado pra ver se tinha algum inimigo ali ou algo deste tipo aí. Ninguém me atacou, então tá bom, né? Vamos caminhando aqui em frente. Aí aquele mesmo bugzinho de você já ter ali tipo meio que escaneado esse bicho aqui. E aí ele fica marcado como não fez o scanner. O bug persiste desde o ano passado ainda, tranquilo.
That's far enough, strangers. You want to tell me what you're doing on my property uninvited? Well, you won't find him here. This isn't exactly the type of place where house members frequent. I can understand that, but I can't help you. The only people here are my partner Zen and our daughter Mila. No one comes around here. We're isolated, and that's the way we like it. All right, fine.
Irina, are you sure you know what you're doing?
Zen, yes, I know quite well. Never mind my partner, they're just overly cautious. As I said before, I've never seen Vaeric Bethal. We keep to ourselves. There's no reason for a path to cross. But we did aid an injured young man a few days ago.
That's gotta be Vaeric.
It's too coincidental. It must have been him. We didn't know and didn't ask. We introduced ourselves, and he quickly changed the subject. But he was polite, and something about him reminded me of our own son, so I didn't feel the need to push him. Casimir Mazur. He left a while back to find work in Dasra. He didn't want the life of a farmer. We haven't heard from him since the incident. We sent him north. There's a long-abandoned growth farm we felt he could make use of. He claimed he lost everything in the incident that swallowed half of Dasra. He wanted to start a new life. We even gave him 2 of our own groats to get started. Great Serpent, forgive my foolishness, but I trusted him instantly. I saw so much of our own son gas in him that I didn't doubt nor question. I allowed him his privacy in what I thought was a time of great need and grief. It's only now that you've come looking for him that I've made the connection. You're welcome, and safe travels. If you find him, give him our regards.
Beleza, aí a gente vai ter uma outra marcação ali no mapa, né? Vai ter um caminho aqui pra nossa direita pra gente ir passando. Chegando ali no refúgio, a missão vai ser atualizada. E aí a gente precisa examinar ali o local, né? Pra seguir com a missão.
This unit is performing a software update. Please do not attempt.
Então vou fazer o seguinte, né? Vou pegar aqui e dar uma explorada na área primeiro ali, só pra gente ver se tem algo importante, mesmo eu já esperando não ter muita coisa também, né? Porque a gente tá falando aí da Bethesda e, velho, se brincar, o que os caras fizeram aqui no dedo tá pior do que os gerado por IA do game base, então eu vou analisar tudo direitinho e aí aos poucos a gente vai, né, progredindo com a missão aqui.
Tag me in when you're done. I want to speak in private first.
Tem mais essa área pra dar uma olhadinha de leve ali. Temos um códice aqui, ó. É um diário ali, então tem relação com a missão. É de boa. O cara tá esperando lá embaixo. Vamos descer aqui e dar uma olhadinha, né? Ó, temos um computador com um objetivo marcado ali. 3 registros, então aquele padrão. Vou deixar um pouquinho na tela pra vocês aí. Quem quiser dar uma lida com calma, só ir pausando o vídeo. Vamos só finalizar a geralzinha aqui. Porque agora, né, a gente já vai ter que conversar com o cara lá. Pra missão progredir. Tem um cofre aqui, ó. Aproveitei pra dar uma olhada nele. É uma arma ali lendária. Depois eu vejo se é boa, né? Creio eu que aqui dentro a gente já não vai ter mais nada pra olhar. Só abrir as portas ali pra ver as áreas que vai terminar aqui. Tranquilo. Bom. Olha que da hora. O bicho é da hora. Vamos voltar no cara ali e seguir com a missão, né? Não tem muito mais o que fazer.
Nothing going on out here. How about you? Find anything? Never thought of Vaeric as the Dear Diary type. Sounds like it's a waiting game then.
It seems I have uninvited guests. You want to explain yourselves?
Whoa, hey, it's me. Dane. Put the gun down already.
It's not you I'm concerned about. It's your friends.
Rightfully so.
I wish I could say I was pleased to meet you, but something tells me this isn't a social call. Please, if you're here on my father's orders, allow me to plead my case. I am not sure how familiar you are with our culture, but all I've ever wanted was the right to choose. I was born House Vithal. I was raised to inherit the role of elder, to run the Ministry of State, to worship the Great Serpent. But I want none of it.
With House Vithal? Easier said than done.
This is true. House Vethal and the Ministry of State are known to be the most devout and punitive of the houses. It would not be easy to leave without extreme consequences, as you now know.
It's never mattered how much I tried to reason with him. My father simply would not let me go. His pride and the fear of what it would mean for House Vithal is all he cares about. Shame, embarrassment, fuel for the other houses to ridicule my father. I don't want any of that for him, but he left me no choice. If he would have listened just once, maybe I could have left on good terms with my father's blessing. Control the narrative, as they like to say. That's the issue. As far as my father's concerned, he's the most supportive parent out there. Giving me all the tools and teachings I need to inherit House Vithal and assume the reins of the Ministry of State. I'm the ungrateful one. I'm the problem. Not him. All I want is to make my own life. Something Tane understood and was willing to help me with.
The credits help too. But yeah, guess you got the whole scoop now. I realized I was going to help a friend. And yeah, I knew the risks. That's why we had the tracker. I needed Vaeric to get far enough away from Dazra so I could safely pick him up and get him out of here. Yeah, I needed a way to find him once he got outside the city. I lost my ship to the incident, so I didn't want Vaeric running off thinking I could just grab him and go. I was also out all the credits he was gonna pay me. That's where you came in. I figured, why not two for the price of one?
So, now you know my true intentions for leaving, and given the circumstances, I may be here for some time. My hope now is to make the best of it here. I suppose I owe you that much. The truth is, the scaled citadel was the last straw. My people are so blinded by faith and politics, they don't see how it's destroying us. Anasko Varun eliminated half our population in the blink of an eye. My sister Vashti among them. I could no longer live in a society that won't put its people first. That would destroy itself in the name of a god that has done nothing for us. Especially when that faith leads to hate. I hope you can see why I want to walk away from all this. To start my own life. I ask that you give me that chance. Anything. Name it. My ring. Vashti gave it to me. It's all I have left of her since the cataclysm. The disaster took every physical reminder of her except for this ring. Just wiped her from existence. True. It's as if she's looking out for me. One last time. Take it. I'll find solace in the fact that the ring will remain with my family. And now I hope we are done here. Thank you for seeing reason. I owe you both my life and freedom.
Now that's over with. I'm gonna hang back here, talk to Vaeric a bit. Besides, I don't want to be around when you break the news to Victor. Do me a favor and find me at the Herald's Rest when you're done.
I have literally no experience being a growth farmer, but I'm going to try my best.
Beleza, né? A gente tentou resolver a missão aí da melhor forma possível, né? Porque o cara também não fez nada de errado, né, mano? O cara só quer viver ali a vida dele em paz, tá ligado? E aí vamos voltar lá então, né, pra finalizar essa parte aqui.
Is it done? You're back. What news do you bring?
What have you done? Vaeric.
This blood is on your hands, Victor. I hope you remember this.
Yes, the investigation you are running. I was told it needs to stop.
No. Tell me this is not House Kadik interfering with Ministry of State Affairs.
I have not overlooked your involvement in this.
No, it was Vaeric's choice. He knew the consequences.
You were his father. You were supposed to protect him. You think you are doing what is right out of some blind dedication, but you are destroying this house. You already lost one child. You had to murder the other.
Victoria! I will not hear any more of this. It is done. Leave us.
Oh, I am leaving to mourn my nephew whose memory you disgrace with your very presence.
Victoria! Leave her be, Luther. The Great Serpent will guide her. She will understand in time and emerge stronger for it. Then I can appreciate a tool that does not question. Ultimately, I care nothing for what you think. Now, only one matter remains to discuss. Did you find anyone who aided my son in his treachery? Good. I also have heard nothing of my son's disappearance. so I appreciate your discretion in this matter. You restored order to this house and have my gratitude. Here, the access code that Ekris needs to connect to the power grid. Now go. I have much to arrange.
If only you had allowed Vaeric to live.
Beleza, né? E a gente mentiu com força aí também, né? Por mais que alguns ali agora não gostem muito da gente. É aquele esquema, né? A gente não sabe se não tivesse feito dessa forma o cara ia dar um jeito de encontrar o maluco e acabar com ele. Então, né? A melhor forma ali foi a gente, né, manter a descrição e vamos fingir que o cara tá morto e pronto. Aí ninguém vai lá encher o saco.
Serpent speed be with you, Vindicator. Did Victor finally relinquish the access code? Slowly, but it will be much faster if you have the power grid access code. Testing without full power is extremely limiting. Excellent. We'll finally have the resources to fully charge the morning device. Now, let's hope House Steward Kef is as forthcoming as the others.
Completamos então aí mais uma missão aqui da história, tá? E é isso aí, a gente só precisa já ir pra outra casa. Porém, né, lá no comecinho dessa missão a gente prometeu pra alguém ali que ia contar as informações. Então, né, vamos conversar com ela agora.
Oh, you're back. Is this about Vaeric?
Seguindo por essa linha aí, pelo menos da missão, né? Meio que não tem como a gente revelar pra ela que ele tá vivo, né? Tudo que a gente vai dizer aqui praticamente é que ele já foi. Então, né, mano? Assim, por um lado, né, pode ser meio errado. Pelo outro, pelo menos dessa forma a informação não vaza e o cara fica de boa.
So, the news is true. Vaeric was executed as a traitor. Thank you for telling me, even if it wasn't what I wanted to hear. Now, if you don't mind, I'd like to be alone. I have a lot to process. Really? You don't think it's working out for me? The only reason I'm alone in the first place is because Eggy's determined to drink himself to death, and I won't have it. I could really use his friendship right now. I thought Eggy was one of my best friends, right alongside Vaeric. But he'd rather down a bottle of Koza than have one coherent conversation with me. Vaeric was always able to talk him out of one more bottle. Me? I think he just tuned me out. You don't think I tried? Eggy's his own problem now.
Então meio que a gente não teve muito outra escolha, né? Dependendo ali da decisão que você tomar, vai ter que seguir até o final nessa linha, tá ligado? E não vai poder revelar pra ninguém também. Por um lado é bom que a informação não vaza, por outro, né? É meio complicado, mas é isso daí. Bom, terminamos aqui mais uma missãozinha. E aí no próximo a gente já vai lá pra última casa, né?